Hey, good morning, Manny.
Hey, Angelina, how are you?
I'm good. I saw that you're building this cool repository. Can you share with me a little bit more of what's the purpose of this repository for AI starter kit? What does it mean? What does it do?
Sure. So basically, I was exploring the GitHub and then I found another very cool repo, which is this one, local AI stack. So what it does, it lets you create kind of chat to PDF application locally using open source models instead of relying on OpenAI,
Mhm.
API. And it's a pretty cool repo. What they did, they're using different stack here. You can see that they have used Olama, which is
Mhm.
a library that we use to be able to run open source models like
Mhm.
Mistral and Llama 2. For vector database, they have used Supabase and they're using LangChain JS, and the app is written in Next.js. So
How's
it's
yours different?
oh yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
it's a pretty cool starter kit, as the name says, so you can use it to basically run to develop your applications, and then you can upload your PDF file and start talking to them. However, for me, my preference is always Python, especially for the backend part. And for vector database, I wanted to use another, like a different vector database, not Supabase. My favorite vector database is Qdrant. Open source, extremely fast, very flexible. So what I did, I said, okay, this is a very cool project, but instead of using this, what if I change some of the technologies here? For example, for vector database, I replaced the Supabase with Qdrant, and for the LLM orchestration, instead of using JS, a JavaScript version of LangChain, I'm using like Python version, and the logic is written in the front end is written in React, the back end is written in FastAPI, which is Python. So I
Mhm.
created this repo here instead, which is essentially very similar to the other one. The difference is just the tech stack is different. So I created this repo, I put some screenshots and a short video to explain how to run it.
Do you want to
Um,
show us like how does it work? Do a
yeah,
quick.
so let me just go jump into the demo. It probably will be a little bit easier.
Mhm.
So if you want to do it, if you follow these instructions here, you can easily make it up and running. Um, so what I have done, I have run the backend here, and you can see it run the backend, and then you obviously need to run the Qdrant first as well. This is the vector database. If you run it, it's going to be running on this specific port here, like 633, right? So, and this is the name of the collection. So when you run the application, it creates this collection, which is basically the index. And right now you can see there is no embeddings in there. So points count, meaning that there is nothing, it's empty. This is the front end, and this is Olama. So for Olama, you need to download the software and run it. You need to also download a particular model, open source model like Mistral or Llama 2. So I am using Llama 2. To make sure that Olama is running, you can just come to this URL and you can see that it shows me that Olama is running. Okay, because if it doesn't work, then you obviously cannot run the application and it doesn't work either. Um, so I have run the backend, the Docker, and the front end, and you can see that in here. So what now we'll do is that we can upload a file. So let me go to my papers here, and then I'm gonna find a paper which is not, let's say, too many pages just for the purpose of this demo. Okay, so it says it's been uploaded successfully. And now let's ask a very basic question. What is this paper about? I mean, this is not the very best question that you usually
Mhm.
ask, but let's see. So when you
What's
ask a
the most
question,
common question? People
it's
always
a
ask
common
that.
question. Yeah. So what it did, it actually split the text into 12 chunks, right? And when I ask that question, I ask it to return only the top one, text chunk. So I return that. So this is basically the retrieval part, which comes from the Qdrant. So now, because I am running it on CPU on my computer, it's a little bit slow. So it's still just trying to run this, Llama 2 model. And when it is completed, then I can see the tokens or the words, the response that is being generated. I can see it in the terminal. So we're still waiting to see the token. It takes a little bit of time, especially at the beginning for the first run. So if you have GPU, it would be extremely fast. I don't have GPU here, therefore it takes a little bit of time.
Right. The text here showing on the terminal is the paper, the context of the
This
paper.
is part of the
Part
paper.
of-
So let's say I ask this question, what is this paper about? So that's the pipeline. You ask a question, it's going to go and hit the vector database to return, let's say, the top relevant documents or chunks, right? Document mean the text chunk. So it's going to just find that, and you can restrict it to top 2, 3, 5, right? So because again, it was slow, I mentioned that, okay, only give me the top 1, right? Relevant piece of text from that document. So it returns this. So this is that one.
Mm, I
So
see.
we're still waiting. I'm still waiting for response to come. It
Yeah.
took, yeah, it should be responding by now. Interesting. Because everything is, yeah, there is no error. So here, if let's say I rerun it again, you can see that its points count is 12,
Mhm.
right? So meaning that there are 12 different embeddings in there. Apparently, when there is a live demo, it doesn't work.
It always happens
Um,
that way. Yeah.
yeah,
We can talk about other considerations of this tool. So can you speak a little bit of why you're building this? What do you think people can do with this? Because this is like a local run or Llama 2
uh-huh.
model that they can upload a file and they can chat with their own file. So definitely privacy, or it's a toy that new users, new data science who are interested in this can play with. Is that your goal?
Um, yes. So I had different kind of intentions. One is, yes, for a lot of people, they don't want to share really their own files, let's say, with OpenAI or other closed source tools out there. So this could help them if they just want to just run the code locally, upload their files. Everything is gonna be on the computer, local computer, so there is no worry about, right? Nothing to worry about that. And another thing was, as I said, this is like a starter kit that people can use. Right now, this is for just chatting to your document, right? You can upload PDF files, but there are so many other features that could be added. And I wanted to show that although this chat to PDF sounds very easy, which is like the basic version of that, could be potentially easily implemented. However, when you want to deploy that into production, there could be a lot of nuances.
Mhm.
So, but the overall goal was to give people like a toolkit where they can use to be able to talk to the documents. They can add. Right now, it only supports PDF, but they can add other types of documents like text, doc, right? Excel files, and so on and so forth. Um, but yeah, I wanted also to give people a different tech stack, like Python, Qdrant, instead of using the other library, the other GitHub repo that I talked about at the beginning.
Cool. So this is basically a starting point for anybody who's potentially unfamiliar with how to use large language models and build an application. Try it out, and then build on top of it, potentially making it something that more productionizable or more fully functional for their own use cases, right?
Yes, yes. This is just a very basic version of that. It has a lot of potential that people can use it to add, as I said, different types of files. They can even integrate it with other knowledge bases if they want to. But this is just a very like minimal version of the code that people can use for just, chatting with their document.
Yeah, this is I tried it out locally too. I think it's definitely slow in generating response comparing with
Hmm.
things like a ChatGPT, right, or other tools, or Castly. So maybe next time you can show something like how to productionizing something like a tool like this, or we can give a little bit, tutorial or hint to user like how to build it out in a more production ready format.
Yeah, productionizing, RAG or retrieval augmented generation tools as it depends on the use case, right? We can talk about the general tricks and tips and best practices, but when it comes to really productionizing such an application, then there will be a lot of nuances and tricks that people need to follow. Yes, for prototyping, it's fairly straightforward to just create a simple app, just like what I did, although it didn't really um, work as I expected. Um, but in general, when you want to deploy something into production, that's a completely different story.
Right. It must be interacting with all the other stuff that you were running before this. Sorry for the for the rushed
Yeah,
quest of
it's very
recording this.
interesting that it didn't
But
work
that's fine.
right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. This is why I think our book about the rack system, how to productionizing these kind of things is really, really needed, because building a toy product is one thing and building into production is another thing. We'll talk next time.
all right, okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you.